The world of lost media is one that is really hard to predict. Sometimes you end up coming across pieces of lost media that you might just want to stay lost. Today we're covering some bizarre pieces of lost media from video games. Let's get into it. Starting it off really weird, we have Waluigi's Toenail Clipping Party, also known as Waluigi's Foot Fault. It was an official Nintendo Online Flash game in which, quote-unquote, everyone's favorite mustachioed mischief maker has let his personal grooming go, and it's up to you to help him. Clip those nails good, and be sure to aim for the jar, or you'll be left with the ragged clippings and toe jam all over your hard drive. Ew. The entire point of this game was basically to cut Waluigi's toenails and to get them in the jar to earn points. Not only was this game real, but it was an official Nintendo game. And an even funnier fact is the fact that this game was the only ever Nintendo game where Waluigi was the main character. I'm not gonna lie, I'd be pretty mad if I was Waluigi. The reason we know this game actually existed, even though it's still lost to this day, is because it's mentioned in the September 2000 issue of Nintendo Power, which was a magazine about Nintendo games, specifically in the Nintendo Power Online section. In this section, there's an entry titled Mamma Mia, It's Waluigi, which describes the contents of a promotional website called Waluigi.com. Even more proof for this game's existence was found using the Wayback Machine on the Mario Tennis website. The website was crawled for all of its pages, and one specific page was found by using the Control F function and searching for the keyword toenails. The page was mariotennis.com/toenails_coming.swf. The SWF is a format for Flash games, and upon opening this page on the Wayback Machine, you are greeted with this image, with the following text. Grab your shears and collect a jar full of smelly toenails clipped off Waluigi's monstrous feet. The fungus is about to begin. But since it's a Flash file, it also moves. This is just as unsettling for me as it is for you, and to be honest, I almost didn't include it in this video, but I felt like I had to because what was Nintendo thinking? There have also been reports of people on Reddit that claim that they have actually played this game at one point in time, describing it pretty accurately to the information that we know, which may indicate that they actually did play this game. So let me know what you think about this smelly piece of lost media. You've likely heard of the Family Guy series. It's one of the most popular cartoons out there and has been running for a really long time. But did you know that at one point in time there was actually an MMO based on Family Guy called Family Guy Online? This was a game that took place in Quahog, the same city that the original Family Guy show takes place in, where you spawn in the main character's house and you are given missions by them that you must complete. Later on, you're given missions that allow you to explore more parts of the city and interact with the same places that you saw in the show. While it might seem like a promising idea and the gameplay might look pretty interesting, this game was pretty much dead in the water as soon as it came out. The game was only playable from 2012 to 2013 and it never officially left the beta testing phase. What was more interesting is the fact that the game was actually free to play, but unlike other free to play games that had microtransactions and other ways to make money such as ads, this game had no way to monetize. The only thing that could kind of be considered a way to make money for the game is the fact that it promotes the Family Guy TV show for the user to buy on the Apple Store. Even weirder is the fact that this game was actually a browser game, and I'm not gonna lie, it looks very good for a game that was not only browser based but also from 2012. They really nailed the cartoon style even in a 3D environment, despite a lot of game companies not being able to perfect this today. But the fact that this was a browser game ends up being its biggest caveat. You see, because of the fact that it's a browser game, users did not have to install anything locally on their device to play the game. This is pretty convenient for the player, but it also means that when the company behind the game decides to shut it down, all copies of the game are essentially gone for good. This reduces the chance of the game ever being found by a lot, but one way that the game may actually have a chance of being found is if someone in 2012 decided to randomly download the Unity 3D files for the game from their browser. You see, this game was actually developed on Unity, and players were were actually able to download the files for the game using some type of inspect element method that I'm not really too familiar with. People didn't have any reason to do this back in the day, and even if someone ended up doing this, they would have needed to keep the same hard drive since 2012 and never have deleted the files, which is a very slim chance. So all of these factors combined make it pretty hard to actually find this game, but the fact that it's not 100% impossible gives me at least a little bit of hope. This next one is definitely the silliest piece of lost media, but to me, it might be the most interesting one I cover in this video. I'm not even going to try to explain it too much, I'll just play it for you and you'll definitely recognize it. Among Us! So yeah, I'm sure you've heard that audio a few thousand times, especially if you were on TikTok between 2020 and 2022. Now, the audio itself is not actually lost media since I obviously just played it for you, but what is actually lost media is its origin. You see, no one actually knows where this Among Us audio came from. It's so commonly used, but the clip it came from is nowhere to be found. Now, I could almost swear that I've actually seen the clip that this audio came from, but it was likely just a Mandela effect of sorts because it was used in so many videos all over social media. If you want to find the sound effect on YouTube, it's called Guy Yelling Among Us sound effect, and the description states, I couldn't find this sound effect anywhere on YouTube, so here it is. We're not sure where the uploader of this effect found it from, but it's very likely that they just don't know either, and they probably just re-uploaded it from some other person who also didn't know where they got it from. Anyways, I just thought I'd include this piece of lost media because it's so silly, and it honestly shocked me quite a bit that it was lost. Also, I feel like if you ever found the original clip that it was from, it would feel a lot like that one MatPat photo. Like, we're so used to seeing it that it looks out of place when you actually put it in the original photo, and that's probably how the Among Us audio would be like. Our last piece of lost media for this video is Charlie the Steak. I've talked about Charlie the Steak in previous videos, and it was actually one of the first games that got me into lost media, but part of the reason that it was so popular at one point in time was because of how bizarre of a game it was. Charlie the Steak was an iOS game released in 2011 that was all about beating up a piece of steak named Charlie. It was riding the trend of the talking games that were super popular at the time, like Talking Tom, but with a much more gory twist. You weren't just beating up the steak, you were practically torturing it. I'm talking blood, snot, pulling out the steak's teeth, pulling out his eyeballs. Like, it's very graphic. Much more graphic than any other kids game should be. As you torture the steak, you get a currency called meatballs, and these meatballs could be used to unlock higher levels in which you could use even more graphic methods of torture. There are also mini games built into the game that you could play to earn meatballs as well. This game was taken down a couple of years after it released, possibly due to a low number of downloads, and a hunt for the game began in mid-2024. I was quite involved in the search for the game, and at one point my TikTok page was almost exclusively about Charlie the Steak, but one day a person by the name of Dipper Gaming actually found the game through someone who had installed it on their device at one point in time, rendering it found after more than 10 years of disappearance. So this marks the only found media out of the different cases that I covered in this video. Anyways, I hope you liked the lost media showcased in this video, and I hope you found at least one of them somewhat bizarre. Honestly, I think every one I covered in this video was weird in its own way, but if you did end up finding one of them bizarre, then a like and sub would be truly appreciated, and comment down below what lost media you'd like me to cover next. It doesn't have to be a lost video game, it could be literally any lost media that you personally like, and there's a chance that I'll include it in my next video. But yeah, don't forget to like and sub. See ya!